Emma Kosini, and welcome to the podcast with a difference, where we talk all things African spirituality, ubungoma, spiritual enlightenment, and so much more. So come along with me as I take you on the journey of your life with my exciting guests. And oh yes, I am Umakosi Mhlongo, and you are tuned into Idlozi Magazine's podcast. Emma Kosini, and welcome to yet again another Idlozi Magazine's podcast episode with myself, Makosi Mhlongo. Niyazi ukuthi we don't disappoint. We always bring the best of the best when it comes to knowledge and information. It's in Namhlanje, we have an exciting guest, informed, knowledgeable, and very, very wise. Ngiphethe nami ohamba nami uMakhosi Gogo, uNomkhubulane Sangweni, Afrika. So Umakosi Gogo has got a book that she is writing. The title of the book is Idlozi, The Journey of My Calling. Like, how exciting! You've got Idlozi magazine interviewing Idlozi, the book, The Journey of My Calling. Like, honestly, how more exciting does it get than that? Like, honestly, Ugogo, I keep telling her, Uti, I am excited, I am humbled. Nje ngithobekile ile thuba angiphe lona ukuthi nje avuma ukuthi simfake kwi-podcast. Yazi ukuthi ogogo ba-strict kakhulu abafuni ngathi, but bavumile ukuthi azokhuluma nathi about this book. And if you are someone, I know my DMs are always flowing every day. Gogo, please assist us with information. Niyazi, we are on the ball. So the title of the book on its own, Iyayikhulumela, Idlozi, The Journey of My Calling. So if you are someone ohlele ekhaya, either you or umntwana wakho, your husband, your wife, or whoever, you know, ufuna ukuthola lokho ukuthi mhlambe mase kuthiwa nginedlozi into kanjani, mhlambe mase kuthiwa ngithola information ukuthi umuntu osewadlula kulento umuntu kanjani, nanguMakhosi ngimphethe. Makhosi, tell kabanzi ngebhuku lakho and what to expect inside the book.
Okay, so she's obviously mentioned Makosi, the title of the book, but the book literally talks about my journey, my spiritual journey, and also it talks about spiritually gifted people. I had to, you know, I had to write it because I Googled and I tried to find information, and you know, lots of times I couldn't get what I was looking for. You know, Toni Morrison says, you know, you have to write the book that you're looking for. So if you're looking for information and you're not finding information, you need to then put it out there, because it means that there's a gap. Right, so I do know that there's people that, you know, would post videos and, you know, talk about spiritual journeys, and they'll talk about, you know, bits and pieces of, you know, of stages that one goes through. But for me, when I had those really, really hellish experiences, I couldn't sleep. I would try and Google and try and find, you know, help find information, and I couldn't. And so this is, you know, what's led me to actually, you know, write this down. In fact, I decided to write it when I was starting with the journey, because obviously my journey started way back. But that's what it's about. It's about spiritually gifted people. What is it that they go through? What are the signs? And you know, how does one overcome the challenges that one actually experiences? Because a lot of times you find that you really don't know what's happening to you, and there's no one that can really explain what it is that is happening to you. You just see things that you know, and you know that it's unique, and you know that it's not okay. You know.
Makhosi Gogo, I just want to ask, kuneyindlela eziningi zokuthi umuntu athwase. We have got ithunya, we have got indawo, we have got, you know, kuhlukahlukene, and then you have umuntu ozothi mina angithwasanga kagobela, so angiyanga ephehlweni. And ube wayithinta kancane le ndaba Gogo, you did touch on it, so can you just elaborate if you have that part in your book that speaks to the various types of callings, how to, you know, mhlambe mangabe kuthiwa ngiphuphe ukuthi, would it explain what that means? Would it tell me if I've got Idlozi, if I've got Isithunywa, if I should twasa, if I should go through to initiation through ugomela, or if I should go through initiation at my own home?
From the first chapter, I talk about the, you know, my journey as a child, what happened. I talk about the early warning signs that, you know, children go through. So, and what it is that you need to pinpoint as a parent to see that your child is actually spiritually gifted. So chapter 1 just literally talks about, you know, early signs. What is it that happened to me? From what age? You know, and all of that. And chapter 2 essentially talks about the spiritual awakening process. What is it? And what does one go through? It's a roller coaster ride, and it happens, I mean, throughout one's life, up until you take up the calling. And if you decide to forgo the journey, it still happens. All right? And if you do take up your calling, there's certain things that still will never go away, right? But anyway, so, and then I talk about, so chapter 3 talks about the search of identity. So not necessarily my surname, wanting to know who I am in that aspect, but wanting to understand what it is that I had, what is it that is unique about me, because I could tell there was something. I mean, I would dream of things and they would happen. I would see things, I could suss up a person, and then I would find out that whatever that I saw was actually true. And so the third chapter talks about the journey of finding. Chapter 4, I talk about the calling, the actual calling now. So what were the signs, and what can one, you know, pick up from that? So how do you know that you actually now have to, take up a calling? How do you know? So I talk about that. I talk about all these things that started happening, but at least then I knew, because then with the consultations I was able to then formulate my own thinking about it. So chapter 4 talks about all of the dreams that I started having. Well, not all of them, I picked a few, but those that are meaningful, that people can learn from. And then chapter 5 talks about the initiation process. So what is it that I went through? And it talks about my training. But also, to answer your question, this is where I actually talk about the different spirits that exist, and what are the signs. So how do you know how do you know that you actually have umdao? How do you know that you have a water spirit, for instance? This is when I decided, going through the process, I then, I reported to my ancestors and I said, please guide me, explain this to me. I need to understand what it is. What are the spirits that exist? And how do I know that I have this? How do I know that I have that? Messages started happening downwards. And this happened, at night. It would happen at night or in the wee hours of the morning. I would start getting these messages and then I would write, right? Chapter 5 goes at length into the different spaces that I was led to, I had to go to, I had to go to a Makaya, a place I didn't even know. I was shown a house in a dream, and somehow they led me to someone that could actually take me to that house.
I like that. I like Gogo, that's Makosi Gogo, that you are, you are breaking down what to expect from the book, because most people do not know what they're calling. We all just see and we expect to it's one size fits all. Red and white and all those. And I like that you break down that you speak about the different types of callings, and then you also put in your own experiences, because our experiences are very similar. So umuntu going through what you experience would now say, aha, oh, okay. Or if you have a child or your partner, you say, oh, okay, you get that aha moment. So you guide people through your book, but through your own experiences, which is lovely, because sometimes you buy a book and umuntu will tell you A to Z, but you can see ukuthi this is through crema, so into cremile, ayifundile, but there's no experience. But with you, Gogo, I love that you have an experience. By the way, if you're wondering where we are at the beautiful Buyos, Orlando West, Soweto. They are hosting us today while we do our podcast. It's a vibe place. It's beautiful. If you've never been to Joburg, I'd advise you to come through. It's safe. The food is delicious. We have just enjoyed a beautiful cappuccino in Makosi Gogo, and we're having the time of our lives. Let me tell you that the hospitality here is like nowhere else. It's not even like a township, but still a township experience, but outside of the township, but in a township, you know? Yeah. So, Gogo, how do I get a hold of your book? When is it out?
All right, so the book is coming out the launch is on the 30th of March, right? So now we're taking pre-orders. And you for the launch you pay 500 rands. That 500 rands includes a copy of the book. It includes obviously the dinner and the live entertainment, everything that comes with the day, right? But if you have to purchase a copy separately, it's 185. So you can purchase it directly. So you can go to the website. It's www.nafrica.co.za. You can go and check out all the information there. The different spaces that I've been to that have actually led me to say, you know what, let me talk about this. So the book actually goes into certain details of things that I think shouldn't be they shouldn't be happening in our society, because you end up destroying that person's spirit. You're destroying someone's spirit by something that you do not know, and you already have made a conclusion, and you think that person has done something, and yet they're not. And other people cannot handle it. Other people can't handle rejection from their family. They can't handle rejection from friends and their circle, and everywhere they go, there's rejection over and above the process that you're going through. So people need to be kinder, good souls. Yeah, so people need to be kinder, because it really is a difficult experience. And I think people need to understand that as it is, when you are spiritually gifted and you're going through a process, it's tough. So try and be understanding and try and be kinder. Already when you meet people, others give you those looks that are really like almost cutting through you. And there's a lot that happens to you, but all I'm saying is let's talk about such things, and let's not make it as if it's something from one particular individual. It's things that exist, and it's things that are out there that are not there to destroy people, but by you not knowing them and actually hating someone or rejecting someone, making people feel a certain way. You don't know what they can handle and what they can't handle. Our pain threshold is different. You know what I mean? Yeah, and we need to save lives. Let's save lives, people.
Exactly. You know, Gogo, you can just tell Uti, you are full of wisdom because of the way you break down your book in terms of what I can expect. I'm tempted to say, why didn't I meet Makosi Gogo before your Twasa? Because let me tell you something, Gogo, you touched on so many important things, but the one important thing that you touched on is the loneliness and being secluded from everything that you know. You're literally just stripped down. And I remember telling Uti I had a problem because they started calling me Uklama, Makosuklama. That was my name, Makosuklama, because I there was a part of myself that just wouldn't go, only to find out when I went to my family, she was the kind of woman, tandayo and whatnot. So that's why you couldn't lose that part of yourself. And sometimes I'd find or whatever, whether you are very clean or very picky with your food or whatever that it is, and you stick out like a sore thumb. But the most painful thing is being alone. Gogo, you touched on something so important, because not only do you get stripped down of everything or yona, they take you to a place where, because You are going there to get to know who you are. You are going there to learn your background, where you come from, where abantu bakini come from. So now you have to go back to Polokwane, you have to go back to Eastern Cape, you have to go back to KZN, Northwest, and not just a big city, but also, you know, emakhaya, deep rurals, ufunda ukutheza, ufuna ukukhamanzi, ufunda ukuhlala in humble, the most humble of situations. La kuthiwa khona whether ugesi ukhona awukho sizodla. You know, you take care of Gobela's family, from the smallest kids to the eldest kids. You do things that make you feel like you are stripped of yourself, that make you feel like, you know, I think it's a good thing that you're not allowed to look at yourself in the mirror, because you would cry. You would literally cry, because you would find that sometimes your family would come to see you and they would say, we didn't even recognize you. And you think to yourself, if I were allowed to look at myself in the mirror, what would I see? You are not allowed to look at the reflection of yourself because sometimes you are told you look like ugogo esingamazi, you look like umkhulu esingamazi. There was a point ePhehlweni where a child Gagobela said to me, Yazi Makhosi umhlongo, when you came here, bomhlophe, bomuhle, you were chubby. And this is a child being innocent, you know. I'm busy feeding her porridge, and to me at the point, and she said to me, you've changed. And Gogo, Makosi Gogo, you touched on so many points, and you said that your book is being launched, but you didn't tell us where it will be launched. Where can we expect the launch?
Okay, so the launch is at the Johannesburg Theatre. It starts from 6 in the evening to 9 o'clock. It's a Thursday, so during the week, but at least it's evening time. It's the 30th of March.
Makosi Gogo, you know what? The goosebumps from sitting, knowing that uhleli namakosi, umakosi Nomkhubulwane is knowledgeable. And not only that, you can just see she has a river flowing within her of wisdom, not only of her own experiences, but my experiences abantu bago, because obviously now they take you through what they experience and they let you learn from that, and you grow from that, because you can't experience everything on your own. So they teach you through what they went through so that you can become a better version of them, you know, and whatever lineage, whatever part of that needs to be corrected or altered will be altered, whatever that needs to be improved will be improved, you know, whatever that needs to be healed will be healed, you know, and that comes from maturity, being open-minded, and that is why we need to be compromised as the person that you used to know, the person that you used to be. We have to compromise a person. We have to put you in a situation where you need to squeeze you and test that we're not really, yes, you are chosen, but can you act this part? Can you represent us? Thank you so much for, you know, just sharing a little bit of your wisdom, because I know this 1 hour that we are sitting together, it is just a short little time. It is not enough, which is why I'm encouraging abantu to please go to the Joburg Theatre on the 30th of March. Especially if you're saying, I need if you won't be around, you can get yourself a copy. It's 185 rand, and there's a courier fee that is involved, but the fee is nowhere near what you stand to gain. It is nowhere near what you stand to learn. The wisdom that is flowing from Umakosi is like nothing that I've experienced. Which is why I said I'm a little jealous, because I wish I'd find Umakosi just before Phehlweni. But hey, it's not too late to gain information. I'm still going to learn. I'm still going to get myself a copy of the book. I'm still going to interview as many people, spend as much time with as many people as possible, because as Idlozi magazine readers, and give you the information that you need to propel you in your journey. Because one thing that is the fact that we are calling Ubutwasa a pandemic. A pandemic is something like a plague. It is something that is horrible. It is something that takes away. Ubutwasa is where you go go and you learn about your people. They are bringing us back. The reason so many of us, the reason that so many of us young people have this calling is because abantu bakithi bayasibona ukuthi no sifuna ukubuyisela isizwe la sibuya khona. Omunye uzothi ngihambile ngaye ePolokwane, omunye uzothi ngihambile ngaye eNorthwest ekhaya. Sonke sibuya sesizazi ukuthi kahle kahle singobani and what it is that we need to achieve and how it is that we need to represent our people, how it is that we will go forward and propel to be better people, you know. So ogogo nabomkhulu bayashanela isizwe manje, bashanela ngokuthi basibuyisele emasisweni, basibuyisele to whom we really are. So it's not a pandemic. It becomes a pandemic mangabe ugobela uzoqoqa ingane zabantu ngezigugu udlale ngazo, then it's a pandemic. But it's definitely not a pandemic if you look at the fact that it is initiation is where our ancestors are bringing back what is theirs, and we are their children and we belong to them. We are theirs, you know. So, and Marcos, if we want to follow you online, how do we follow you? What platforms are you on? Please repeat your website for those of us who are interested.
Okay, so I do have an Instagram page. It's Nomkhubulwane Sangweni. I do have Facebook. It's also Nomkhubulwane Sangweni Africa, and I have the website. It's www.nafrica.co.za. And I also encourage people to subscribe. I'm going to be writing newsletters. There's a lot that I really want to put out there, so that we can really share the knowledge that our ancestors has imparted onto us, so that we are more liberated, so that we go back and this whole chaos that we see, gets sorted out. You know what I mean? I pray and I hope that we have more young people to the table that will actually also, enlighten us, because I believe that there's a lot that you can learn from young people. I'm really encouraging all of us to take up our calling, whatever calling it is, and to play our role, and playing to the best of our ability in the name of uplifting Africa.
We cannot thank you enough. Akubongwa Idlozini, because mawusuthi uyabonga, you mean ukuthi you are enough. Uqedile. Asikabongi gogo, asikakathokozi, asikakanelwa, sisafuna ukubhodla. Khona lento efuna ukuphuma phakathi thina ibhodla, and ngiyakholelwa ukuthi if you go ngomhla ka-30 to the Joburg Theatre, uyozwa ukuthi Makhosi Gogo, what does she have for you? Get yourself a copy, bring a friend, kuningi that you stand to gain, kuningi, and I hope ukuthi as Idlozi magazine, as Makhosi Mhlongo, we have done our part in terms of bringing ugogo on board. Ukuthi there is a book manje ekhona that where you can go and you can say, ake ngifunde kabanzi, let me read, let me see ukuthi amandu's experiences, makuthiwa isithunywa, makuthiwa umdiki, makuthiwa umndawo, makuthiwa yini kahle kahle enginayo, makuthiwa iphupho elikanjena kuchaza ukuthini kahle kahle. So do get yourself a copy of this amazing book. So Idlozi, A Journey of My Calling, there is a book to get. It's the beginning of the year. You haven't read that many books. Make sure, Uguti, if anything, if you have not read a book yet, you make this your first ever book. I cannot wait to review a book, Gogo. I can't wait to. I cannot read. No wait, I cannot do that. Among copies, you just have to wait for them. We'll keep 185 rand wako, but I do promise I'll definitely be there at the launch, because I love this interacting. We get to ask Gogo questions, we get to sit with Gogo, even if it's just 1 minute, 2 minutes, wow. Goosebumps.
Thank you so much.
Goosebumps.
I really appreciate this. Thank you.
Goosebumps. Thank you so much for coming out, Gogo, taking a moment of your time. I know you're busy with promotions. Gogo is busy in Njengamanje. She's promoting the book. She's spending a lot of money on promoting the book. She's spending a lot of money on branding. She has just spent an hour with us just to tell us, Sukuti, unpack this beautiful book with us, because so as Idlozi magazine as readers, support, not only support it, but support your calling, support what is happening to you. We pass it, let this be insiga of what you are going through. Let it be a pillar that you lean on. Just grab this book. make sure you mark a chapter that speaks to you ngaleso sikhathi. Take it home with you. Make sure that you review it every day, every morning, every evening. Make it a part of your whatever routine, you know, because it gets lonely. It gets lonely, and you need someone to remind you that you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for abantu bakho, and you stand to gain a lot. Emakhosini Ndondo, emakhosini kulaba basazothwasa, to those who have callings, I cannot wait to hear from you what it is that you have to say about this podcast that we've just had, and we're about to have so many more, I promise. As Makhosini Ndondo, we are going to go out there as Idlozi magazine, and we are making sure that we leave no stone unturned when it comes to leaving you informed, bringing people who are informed with wisdom, willing to share, willing to educate, willing to inform you, willing to impart with the experiences that they have experienced, with what they've gone through, just to empower us as abantwana bamathongo. Whether you're already on the journey, you're still going to go on to embark on the journey. Ukuthwasa uqedi bakwethu. Ungasho ukuthi ngumakhosi bani, ngugobela, I've had hundreds over mathwasa. Ukuthwasa awuqedi ukuthwasa. So do share with us how you feel about this podcast that we've just had with Makhosini Mkhulwane. We do hope that you will also review the book as well and share it with us. Until our next podcast, Emakhosini.